On today's show, I'm excited to have in studio comic and magician Bruce Gold. I've had the privilege of seeing his funny and amazing performance at Hollywood's famous Magic Castle, where he performs regularly. Bruce Gold has wowed audiences around the globe and has recently appeared on the TV show Fool Us with Penn and Teller. Next up, we're going to have Carol Brody-Fleet, America's go-to expert on grief and recovery. She's a multi-award winning author of many books, but most notably, her national bestseller, Widows Wear Stilettos. Ms. Fleet is also a 3-time contributor to the iconic Chicken Soup for the Soul book series. And finally, we have Mirka Delanos, the internationally renowned 2-time Emmy-winning journalist, humanitarian, and author. She's graced the cover of the famed 50 Most Beautiful People issue of People in Espanol.
This is West Coast Weekly with motivational speaker, Desert Storm veteran, and author LISA Lockwood.
First up, we have in studio Bruce Gold. Welcome to the show, Bruce.
Hi, Lisa. Happy to be here.
I'm really happy to be here with you because I just saw you perform at the Magic Castle. And
Yes.
It was amazing.
Thank you.
I heard a little secret, and you have to let me know if this is true or not.
Okay.
Is there a relationship with Houdini and you somehow? What?
Yeah, a very distant relationship.
Really?
Many years ago, one of his cousins married one of my cousins, so it's barely a twig on the family tree.
Oh my goodness!
But I found that out when I was 12, and something like that can change your life. I set out to become an escape artist myself, and I'll never forget that summer. I'm in the backyard of our home in Florida, and I've had my sister take her jump rope and tie me to a lounge chair and push me into the swimming pool.
Oh no!
And in less than 4 minutes, the paramedics are called to resuscitate my mother, who'd seen the splash from the window and fainted. And I of course, got out immediately, but my mother made me promise if I was going to be in show business, I couldn't do anything dangerous. So I chose comedy magic. That way, if I die on stage, I still get to come back and do it all over again. So.
That is fantastic, though.
Yeah.
There's a real relationship there.
Yeah, a little twig, yeah.
What do people say to you when they find out you're a magician?
A conversation usually goes like this. I say, I'm a magician, and they go, really, what instrument do you play?
Oh, no.
Because you don't hear that. People, who's a magician, right?
You don't hear
and then
that.
they're like, well, you do that professionally? And I'm like, yeah. And, but I perform at the Magic Castle and corporate events around the country and theaters. And
You do, for quite a while
but
now.
when I'm like just out and about, I only have what I have in my pocket, like, some cash.
Yes.
And so I came up with a trick to do for them on the spot, because of course, if you tell someone a magician, you have to
We
prove
have
it.
to see.
Okay,
We
so
have
this is
to
a
see.
money trick. It's really simple.
Okay.
Nobody has to remember what card they chose. It's
Okay.
done with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 $1 bills. And they are ones
Yes, I see.
on the front
Okay.
and on the back, just like the ones in your purse right now. As a matter of fact, take one of those and just hold it up to the light. You can see right through it. It's just a single piece of currency.
It
right?
is. It
I'll
is.
take it back.
No tricky stuff.
And no tricky stuff yet. It's really ones on both sides. And when I do this, people tend to ask me a question. They say, you're a professional magician. Can you really make money doing that? And I say, yes, you can. And when I do it, it looks just like this. And that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5
Oh my goodness.
$100 bills. And they are ones on the front and
Oh
on the
my
back,
gosh.
just like the ones in your purse
Oh,
right
right.
now,
All
right?
right.
As a matter of fact, Lisa, take that up, hold it up rather to the light, and you can see right through it. You can see the watermark of Benjamin Franklin. You can see that little holographic
real. How in the
stripe
world?
and the security stripe. Yeah.
That
I'll
is
take that back. That's the
amazing.
hardest part of the trick, getting the money
Getting
back.
it back.
And
I have some singles in my purse I'd like to
Do
give
you?
to you.
Everybody says that. They're like, can you do that with my money? And
my
and I say, well,
gosh.
yes, I am a magician, but don't
Yeah.
be surprised when you get home and you don't have 5 $100 bills. There we
my
go. You only have 1, 2,
Come on.
3, 4,
I'm this
5.
close to this.
Right. I'm a magician. That's just an illusion, right? Okay. I don't want any trouble from the Federal Reserve. All right.
That's incredible.
Thank you.
Wow. I am wowed.
Good, good.
Completely
That is the
amazing.
desired effect.
I think you've got this incredible story about a Band-Aid and some cool thing that happened at the Oscars.
Oh my gosh, yeah. So I had the the pleasure of working on the host committee at the Oscars, and we basically move the celebrities from the time they step out their limo till the time they step back in. We move them through the whole event, and I happen to be walking the celebrities who presented to press. and I got a call that Gwyneth Paltrow needed a Band-Aid.
Uh-huh.
Now, let me suggest that if you put a Band-Aid in your wallet, you are going to be the most magical person someone has ever met on the day that they need a Band-Aid.
Yes.
You're going to look like you are psychic and you can predict the future, and nothing I do is more magical than having this Band-Aid when people need it. So I always carry one in my wallet.
Right.
And on that evening I had two, and it's a much longer story, but I got a call on my little headset that Gwyneth Paltrow, whom I have a great affection for, needed a Band-Aid.
Yes.
So I walked up behind her and Robert Downey Jr. and I said, "Excuse me, Ms. Paltrow, you needed a Band-Aid." And she turned around and she went, "Thank you.
Oh my gosh.
You're amazing." And I thought, that is going on my resume. So it wasn't a magic trick, but it was a magical moment. So it counts.
That's a testimonial. That's
Yeah,
fantastic.
yeah.
I would love to see another trick.
Oh yeah, you know what? Well, see, I know you're an author as well. 3 books now,
Yes.
right? And then you have Undercover Angel, which is your life story.
That's right.
And I got to thinking before the interview that what you do and what I do is very much alike, because as a magician, I create possibilities for people. And you create possibilities for people by helping them reimagine what their future can be.
Right.
So we'll do a little something about imagining the future.
Okay.
And you have your book there.
I do.
Yeah?
I have a copy
And
of the
I
book.
have
Yeah.
this. Now, this is not my book. I didn't write this book. This was given to me as a gift.
Okay.
It's a book of silly jokes. And I'll just give you a sample of what's in here. I'm on a seafood diet. How does it work? Whenever I see food, I eat it. So obviously this was a gag gift,
Yes,
right?
yes.
I mean, you don't show up at a restaurant and hand a chef a cookbook, but
No.
somebody gave me a joke book. So
Yeah.
okay, so I'll put this right here for the moment.
Okay.
And Lisa, I'm going to flick through this book.
Yes.
And I just want you to say stop as I do.
Stop.
Now, right there, exactly there, or one more page.
One more page.
One more page. Try, that's the
Oh
hardest
my
part.
gosh, I'm
One
sorry.
more. Good. Okay, now there's a page number at the bottom on the left and on the right.
Yes.
And would you just think of either of those page numbers?
Okay.
All right, you got one of those page numbers in mind?
I do.
Good. Now open your book to that page number.
Okay.
And hopefully it's a page with a whole bunch of big words on it. So.
Okay.
Is it? Okay, now hold
Sure.
the book so I can't see it.
Okay.
And I'd like you to, on that page,
Yeah.
look at the biggest word in the first line. The more letters, the better. The bigger,
Okay.
the better.
All right.
All
Found
right?
it.
Have you got it locked in your mind?
Yes.
Great. Close the book. Concentrate on that word.
Okay.
Send your thoughts to me. Oh, I'm getting a strong vibration, but I don't think it has anything to do with her thoughts. I just naturally get this vibration when I'm around you. But okay, let me write something. My mother wanted me to be a doctor, so I'm not, but I write like one, so hopefully you'll be able to read this.
Okay.
Okay. You're thinking of your word.
Yes.
And the word is envelope.
Come on.
Is the word is
It's not envelope.
no, seriously, it says envelope. That is, I spelled it correctly and everything.
That's not the
But,
word that I had.
No, this isn't the word you thought of. This is a reminder to me about the envelope that I put on the table a moment ago before you even opened your book. Because some people think like I'm looking at a monitor and I can see the word that you looked at.
Right.
But this is the future, now the present. And inside this, well, I'll let you open up the envelope. It has your name on it. There's one piece of paper in there. Lisa, take that out, open it up, and tell everyone what it says.
Lisa will choose announcement.
And the word is?
It's announcement.
What?
No way.
Way?
Bruce, you are fantastic.
Thank you.
you so much for visiting us today on West Coast Weekly. We look forward to seeing you soon. And if people want to get in touch with you, what's the best way?
They'll find me on my website at brucegold.com, and I'll be at the Magic Castle again in June.
Thank you so much. And we'll be right back.
Parent, I really hope to speak to you if you have a son or daughter in high school. I don't need to tell you how bright and talented they are. You witness that throughout their lives. But have you ever thought that maybe your son and daughter are gifted enough that they could be earning an incredible salary without ever having to go to college? In Bob Walter's book, Facing Reality in American Education, his heart's desire is for each child to be looked at individually, not as a group, and so discovering ways to help them achieve as quickly as they can. Because it's no secret, they are truly gifted. Don't you agree? Buy it today. There's nothing that can bring more joy than a young boy or girl smiling or laughing so loud they can't stop. At ILoveMyBears.com, we love to see that, and we're so thankful that we get to hear the reports of these little ones loving their newfound friend. I love my bears. Soft, cuddly, and to top it all off, made one at a time by master seamstress Patricia Haynes. Go to ILoveMyBears.com and get your bundle of joy today. Not only will you be happy you did, but watch the smile of your little one the first time they get to hug their very own.
Hi, my name is Tom Julian, the author of The Shepherd. You know, there's hundreds of thousands of people who have felt like the title character of The Shepherd, Tony Castanelli. Alone, no family to count on, friends are becoming few and far between. But God has a way of looking down on those lonely hearts and somehow in His own beautiful way bring people into our lives who can help us find the direction and purpose that we all need and the happiness we all desire. This is that story. It's a simple read, but it's an inspiring moment. Buy yours today.
Many of us know that high school today is not the same as high school in the 60s, 70s, etc. Pressure to achieve, the competitiveness, the anxiety to fit in, and the loneliness has made being a teenager a pretty tough job today. In Bob Walter's new book, Facing Reality in American Education, he looks at ways to help these young people understand just how amazing they really are and for the students to know that their gifts are theirs alone and they are created with those gifts to excel and be all that they can be. I'm sure you agree. Pick up your copy today. There's nothing that can bring more joy than a young boy or girl smiling or laughing so loud they can't stop. At ILoveMyBears.com, we love to see that, and we're so thankful that we get to hear the reports of these little ones loving their newfound friend. I love my bears. Soft, cuddly, and to top it all off, made one at a time by master seamstress Patricia Haynes. Go to ILoveMyBears.com and get your bundle of joy today. Not only will you be happy you did, but watch the smile of your little one the first time they get to hug their very own.
Hi, my name is Tom Julian, the author of The Shepherd. You know, there's hundreds of thousands of people who have felt like the title character of The Shepherd, Tony Castanelli. Alone, no family to count on, friends are becoming few and far between. But God has a way of looking down on those lonely hearts and somehow in His own beautiful way bring people into our lives who can help us find the direction and purpose that we all need and the happiness we all desire. This is that story. It's a simple read, but it's an inspiring moment. Buy yours today.
Parent, I really hope to speak to you if you have a son or daughter in high school. I don't need to tell you how bright and talented they are. You witness that throughout their lives. But have you ever thought that maybe your son and daughter are gifted enough that they could be earning an incredible salary without ever having to go to college? In Bob Walter's book, Facing Reality in American Education, his heart's desire is for each child to be looked at individually, not as a group, and so discovering ways to help them achieve as quickly as they can. Because it's no secret, they are truly gifted. Don't you agree? Buy it today.
Welcome back. As promised, I have in studio grief and recovery expert, also national best-selling author, Carol Brody-Fleet. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Lisa. It's great to be here.
Now, this topic is not an easy topic.
No.
So how did you become the expert in that field?
Well, I became an expert, unfortunately, by personal experience. And when I myself became widowed, I couldn't find the information I was looking for. There were wonderful grief books out there, but there wasn't anything that was speaking to me and answering the questions that I had, some of which I was afraid to ask. And I've always believed that if you can't find it, create it.
Wow.
And what I did one day, years after becoming widowed, was I just started writing notes of all the things I've been looking for and couldn't find. And what I wound up with was a table of contents to my first book.
Oh my goodness, wow.
Yeah.
What would you say? I know it's the hardest thing in the world when somebody passes away,
Yes.
and people want to say the right thing. And sometimes they just don't say the right. What are the things that you recommend people not say to somebody who just went through a
The
loss?
two most common things is, first of all, you don't say, I know how you feel.
No.
Because what you've just done is, for instance, if you've had a loss, and you have had a huge loss within this last year, and you start to tell me about it, and I say, Lisa, I know how you feel, because when I lost thus and so, and now all of a sudden I've just taken the spotlight off of Lisa and put it onto me, and that's not where it belongs. When somebody is sharing their loss with you, what you want to do is say, I'm so sorry. Right. We've lost the gift of I'm so sorry somehow, and I don't know why. But you say, I'm so sorry. I can't imagine the pain that you're in, which is true. We can't.
That already makes me feel better.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And when you're ready to talk about it, I'm here to listen. And then make sure that you are there to listen. It's that simple.
I have to tell you, I lost my father, and
Right.
you're aware of that.
Right.
And I would see people walk away from me because they didn't know what to say. And I just didn't know how to bring them back in and say, it's okay. It's okay to talk to me.
Do you know, right after I became widow, it was 5 or 6 months later, I was out at one of my first social functions, and I was introduced to a gentleman who seemed to be, kind of interested, and until I said I was widowed. And Lisa, he started physically backing away from me, and before I could
oh my gosh.
before I could stop myself, I said, really, it's not contagious. Because that's the problem, is that it is a difficult subject, and it is scary, and people do back away from it. They do it physically, they do it metaphorically. Backing away from it doesn't make loss go away.
Right.
It just keeps us from being prepared for it when it does happen, either to us or to someone we love.
And you taught me something. A few years ago, I lost my dog. And it was unexpected, and it was very quick, and that dog was like a child to me.
Of course.
So since that period, and I've gotten another dog since then, I'm very close to the dog, and I relate to people with dogs, and when they go through their loss, and social media is big right now, tell me if I made a mistake, because I have said to them, I do feel what you went through, because I had lost my dog as well. Is that taking away from their...
No, relating to somebody, saying I understand, though, or I get it. That's actually what I like to use when I'm speaking to other widows, is I get it, or I've been there. Still keeps the spotlight on them.
Yes.
But what I'm saying is, I feel that I can talk to you because I have been where you are. And having been where you are, I can tell you that, and then lead on from there.
And what I do know is that recovery is different for everybody.
Absolutely.
The amount of time that somebody needs when they lose somebody or something tragic happens in their life. Can you give any words to that, as far as how to be respectful, or giving somebody the space for that?
Understand that there is no statute of limitations on grief recovery. I think that is a very...
Say that again.
There is no statute of limitations on grief recovery.
Right.
That is such an important lesson, because, and this happens very frequently, unfortunately, in the community that I serve, is that, well, Lisa, it's been 2 years since you've lost whoever you have lost. You should be over it by now.
Oh boy.
And here's what happens. The person who hears that focuses on, you should be, and they're not.
Right.
And they you gravitate toward what you focus on.
Right.
And they focus on that, and they say, well, I'm not over it, so obviously there's something wrong with me.
And that's the last thing you want to do to that person, is make them feel wrong for grieving for somebody they loved.
Exactly. And then also we have to embrace the fact that we are never over it. Loss becomes a part of us. It becomes like a body part. We move forward with it.
That is fantastic advice. I know our viewers are going to benefit from that. If they want to get in touch with you, what's the best way for them to do that, to find your books? And
best way to start is at Facebook, on the Carol Brody Fleet page, where there's a huge community of people who are in a bereavement place, and they are ready and welcome to open anyone and everybody.
It's like a support group.
Exactly. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
And also widowswearstilettos.com is a great place to find a lot of information.
Well, I know that I will definitely refer people. I've already referred people to your books, but I will refer people to that site, so they have a supportive environment. Thank you so much for joining us,
Thank you for having
Carol.
me, Lisa. It's been my pleasure.
And we'll be right back with our next guest, Mirka Delanos. Be right back.
Parent, I really hope to speak to you if you have a son or daughter in high school. I don't need to tell you how bright and talented they are. You witness that throughout their lives. But have you ever thought that maybe your son and daughter are gifted enough that they could be earning an incredible salary without ever having to go to college? In Bob Walter's book, Facing Reality in American Education, his heart's desire is for each child to be looked at individually, not as a group, and so discovering ways to help them achieve as quickly as they can. Because it's no secret, they are truly gifted. Don't you agree? Buy it today. There's nothing that can bring more joy than a young boy or girl smiling or laughing so loud they can't stop. At ilovemybears.com, we love to see that, and we're so thankful that we get to hear the reports of these little ones loving their newfound friend. I Love My Bears, soft, cuddly, and to top it all off, made one at a time by master seamstress Patricia Haynes. Go to ilovemybears.com and get your bundle of joy today. Not only will you be happy you did, but watch the smile of your little one the first time they get to hug their very own.
Hi, my name is Tom Julian, the author of The Shepherd. You know, there's hundreds of thousands of people who have felt like the title character of the shepherd, Tony Castanelli. Alone, no family to count on, friends are becoming few and far between. But God has a way of looking down on those lonely hearts and somehow in His own beautiful way bring people into our lives who can help us find the direction and purpose that we all need and the happiness we all desire. This is that story. It's a simple read, but it's an inspiring moment. Buy yours today.
Many of us know that high school today is not the same as high school in the 60s, 70s, etc. Pressure to achieve, the competitiveness, the anxiety to fit in, and the loneliness has made being a teenager a pretty tough job today. In Bob Walter's new book, Facing Reality in American Education, he looks at ways to help these young people understand just how amazing they really are and for the students to know that their gifts are theirs alone and they are created with those gifts to excel and be all that they can be. I'm sure you agree. Pick up your copy today. There's nothing that can bring more joy than a young boy or girl smiling or laughing so loud they can't stop. At ilovemybears.com, we love to see that, and we're so thankful that we get to hear the reports of these little ones loving their newfound friend. I love my bears, soft, cuddly, and to top it all off, made one at a time by master seamstress Patricia Haynes. Go to ilovemybears.com and get your bundle of joy today. Not only will you be happy you did, but watch the smile of your little one the first time they get to hug their very own.
Hi, my name is Tom Julian, the author of The Shepherd. You know, there's hundreds of thousands of people who have felt like the title character of the shepherd, Tony Castanelli. Alone, no family to count on, friends are becoming few and far between. But God has a way of looking down on those lonely hearts and somehow in His own beautiful way bring people into our lives who can help us find the direction and purpose that we all need and the happiness we all desire. This is that story. It's a simple read, but it's an inspiring moment. Buy yours today.
Hi, welcome back. And as promised, I have in studio Mirka Delano's two-time Emmy Award-winning journalist. She's had an incredible life, and I can't wait to delve into some of her stories. Welcome to the show, Mirka.
Oh, it's so nice to be here with you, Lisa.
You know, I find you fascinating across the board, not only because of all these awesome accolades, I mean, humanitarian awards, you also teach and or have taught journalism.
I have.
Yeah.
I have. Actually, my old professor from the University of Miami, where I graduated from, called me back and said, hey, would you love to, come in and teach a class, an honors colloquium on journalism? We'd love to have your point of view. And I did that, and it was so much fun. That was when I was in Miami before I came out here to LA. So it was wonderful to just be with the students again, be in that atmosphere of learning, and then having the opportunity to teach a little bit from what I've learned, on the actual field. So it was great. It was great.
And what's evolved for you is social media.
Yeah, definitely.
So tell me a little bit about that, the difference now with journalism because of it.
There's a huge difference because of social media. First of all, anybody that has a phone can practically become a journalist in the sense that they can come out, they can film something, and they can just tell a story, which is what journalism is in its essence, is telling a story. But there's also a little bit more that I think a lot of the younger generation or the journalists that are coming up now seem to have forgotten, or I don't know if it's being taught, but when I taught it in my class, I talked about the journalist credo, and I talked about the fact that journalism, you're supposed to give both sides of the story, and
that's so important.
That the point is, the goal is to elevate society.
I love that, and that's a fantastic credo. So the question is, are they still teaching that?
That's what I was doing, and I hope, and I've been on a lot of panels at universities and with magazines and organizations, journalistic organizations, and I hope so. I mean, things evolve, and we have to evolve with them.
Right.
And I think social media can be used for good.
I know that you've guest hosted on The View several times.
Yeah.
And I know everybody's got very strong opinions on that show.
When I went, it was several years ago, and it was right at the point where Meredith Vieira was leaving to go to the morning show. So I felt, Elizabeth Hasselbeck was there, and we know that she's more conservative. I feel like, the voice was heard. We actually spoke that one of the times about pornography, and I talked about the fact that I don't think it's edifying for women. And Meredith was saying that she thought it was great, and she enjoyed it with her husband. So I feel like at that point, Barbara Walters was there, and they were pretty much open to differing points of view. I think because there's such an agenda right now, you know, in the media also, it's very, very difficult to come and say something that's opposing to what everybody else thinks. So I think that, you know, you have to have a strong personality. You have to come in and you have to not care whether they like you or not. That's one of the things. I mean, we're not journalists to be liked. We're journalists to do a job.
Which I'm so glad you said that, because now that brings me to celebrities and celebrity opinion.
Yeah.
Because in the entertainment world, the biggest issue now is they're coming out, they're giving their piece, and even at sporting events, etc. And now you're detracting from half of the audience and half of the population. And a lot of people say, you know what, I want to watch my nighttime programs and I want to be entertained and I want to relax, and why does it have to be so political? We like the old days with Johnny Carson and that sort of thing. So do you see that trend kind of staying along that path, or can we hope that we may be able to go back to the more...
You know, it all depends. I think it's because, I think, you know, because of what's going on in the White House. I think because, you know, President Trump was elected, it polarized the country. And people feel the need to want to give their opinion. I feel also when Obama was in office, a lot of the people wanted to give their opinion because he was also the first Black president, and they were so excited about that. So it's become a little bit more personal with people. But I think politics, you know, if we think about it, it's always been that way. What happens is that it wasn't so open in all the TV shows. You're talking about the Johnny Carson era. You know, I was little when my dad used to watch Johnny Carson, and I don't remember, I mean, from what I don't remember my father talking about anything that had to do with politics when he was watching Johnny Carson. So I think it's just the world that we live in is a little different. And yes, because of social media, everything is relevant at the moment. If something happens outside right now, I can turn on the phone and I could just be telling you about it and we can go live. You know what I mean? So it's just so different. It's an exciting time to be part of a news organization, or just to be part of the media, or just to be out there. You know, you just have to be really careful, because when you have a microphone, you have to be careful. There's a huge responsibility with what you say. I registered at the beginning of my career. I was taught in school that no one should know your political orientation. So I registered independent. And I've never spoken about who I vote for or who I don't vote for.
That's great advice.
But nowadays we have a lot of journalists that voice who they're voting for and who they're against. I feel that that is completely incorrect, and it's not journalism anymore. It's an op-ed piece. I think a lot of the people now, maybe Hollywood, it's okay to be very, very liberal. That's what's accepted. The people that remain with their mouths closed typically are the ones that are conservative right now, because it's no longer popular to say, you know, maybe I don't support abortion or things like that. So I think that people are afraid to speak their mind sometimes because the world will turn on them. And that's a sad place to be.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Of course, Lisa,
I just love your wisdom. I love what you do. And look forward to having you back again.
Of course.
And that's our show today on West Coast Weekly. We look forward to seeing you again next week.